Hi everybody, happy hump day. It is Wednesday, October 3rd. I'm Vicky, StitchNButton, and StitchNButton Crafts on Instagram, or QNVIKKI on Instagram. It's been a day. I needed this today. Special stop at the Wawa over on the coast, just so I could have my Wawa coffee. I also have a snack for when I'm done. Yes, yes. Oh, dropped something. So, I have not too much stitching done, but it's a good amount, but it's monogamous, so it's not a lot of different things. And I have a new decision that I made. It's kind of big for me. Technically it's kind of big. And I have the winner for the drawing. So it's been, like I said, it's been kind of a crazy kind of day. We went over to the coast, and for us to go over the coast, it takes about 45 minutes to get there. A little bit under 45 minutes with my lead foot. So, we went over there, and we ran into some trouble before we actually got there, and I'll talk about that later. But I think I'll end that with a little PSA. I actually bought some more fabric. I gotta stop buying fabric, but I went over to look for specific kind of fabric for project bags that somebody wants. Did not find that fabric. I think I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and buy it online. But that's okay, because I got some good deals on the fabric that I purchased. What's the right vernacular for that word? Anyway, so let's get into it. I have one purchase that I got in the mail. I bought it from Amazon, and it's the Sun. Well, apparently not that brand. And I wonder if anybody's got the name brand, if they could tell me, either message me on Instagram or on here. Instagram, QNVIKKI. Look, I'm throwing them on the floor, so who knows if they'll ever work again. I'm kidding. They were about the same. They look like the same exact things that I've seen. So if I'm going to give you my pros and cons, and if you have a different say or suggestion or blah blah blah, let me know. I appreciate any comments and or messages about that stuff anytime. This is what I bought. They came Amazon. Like I said, it looked like the same exact thing. It was about the same price, so I don't know if it is actually the same exact thing. It comes with the little case. I put extra batteries in. It takes 3 AAA batteries. Actually, these aren't extra. What had happened was I used the weakest lens on there, but I'm sure I'll need something stronger the older I get, because my eyesight's changing every day. I tried these. Now, when I first put them on, I had the arms on them. And after a while, it started bothering me right back here, and it was kind of heavy on my nose. This alone, without the batteries, is takes a little bit getting used to, and my nose is actually sensitive here. I have glasses that I wear at night for driving, and even after a while, those bother me, so I could imagine this bothering me a little bit more. It's heavier. So what I did was I did this. So the pros are because they fit pretty nice, and it goes on your forehead and you could see in between. And there's still like a learning curve because you have something between your eyes. Your eyes are going to look at what's closest. But I can like watch TV or Netflix while I'm stitching and stuff. So that was kind of nice. I can hold my stitching away from, instead of being bunched up here. So I put this on. The only difference, I mean, obviously there's a difference. The only thing is, the con to that is you're going to mess up your beautiful hair. Mine's a mess. I've been wind blown all over the place today. Every time you get out of the car, you're like eating your hair. Anyway, so I like them. I can't say they're my favorite, because I also have like dollar store readers that do the same, and they're not as heavy, but I have to look over them. So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I don't hate them. I'm still on the fence. I'll keep them. They're good enough to keep. Now, what I worked on, let's get into that. What I worked on is this. This is called American Ambassador, second in the series of the Fathers of Freedom series. Frank loves Benjamin Franklin. I bought this 2 years ago at the Prince Citrus Society retreat, and I finally dug it out. I saw it and I said, you know what, let me grab this. Had a little mishap. Coffee got spilled. This was the only damage. Thank goodness I didn't have my stitching on the table. So it got a little bit of coffee, but coffee. Anyway, so it's Benjamin Franklin. It says, where liberty dwells, there is my country. B. Franklin, 1783. Now, everything's 2/2. I'm doing it on 28 count. It calls for 2/2, except for these small letters and then the B. Franklin and the year. Those call for 2/1. I chose black, the 310 black, that's fine. And then I use Victoria Motto threads, and I know they're right here somewhere. Where did I put? I moved everything around so I could show you guys stuff. It's called Colonial from Victoria Motto threads. That's the red I chose. So she calls for, oh, I'm a hot mess today, by the way. Big time hot mess. She calls for very dark terracotta, 3777. I like mine. Anyway, I'm doing this on like a tea linen, and it is 28 count. I wanted to change up the colors a little bit. Now, on her picture, there's a line. This is in black, and there's a red line above and below. It's not charted on there. I don't know what happened. She messed up the chart. So, but that's okay, because I decided I wanted his name in a different color anyway. Originally, I grabbed like a bluish green color. I was going for more of a patina look. And I started 2/1 here. I think this is 2/1 if I remember correctly. I did that 2/1, and it looks fine, but it's only single lines. Well, 2/1 here was getting really bunched up. It looked like crap. So I picked it out, and the bluish green color wasn't showing up as nice. So I decided to do it in red, and I'm really liking it. The stitches look a lot better. And I got all this done in the past week. With this, I just did the outline. That way it was done, and what I do is I jump around, like I try to get some 1/1 in here. After I'm done trying to see that, then I'll jump if I can count while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, because I never do one thing at a time. I'll do some of the border, and then if I'm getting tired or I'm not focused, I can do this, because it's just filling it in. Frank says it reminds him of a pixelated picture coming into focus. So that's what I've been stitching all week. Now, my big decision. I have been hearing voices in my head. Actually, I've just had Blue Flame from Heaven and Earth Designs on my head, on my mind, for a couple of weeks now. I keep on saying, I should pull that out and work on it a little bit. And then finally, I got scroll rods for it, put on the scroll rods. Those were too short. It wasn't working. I had to go to Home Depot. I bought larger scroll rods. Put that on there. That was working a lot better. And then I watched Stitch and Joel's, and she grids her fabric. So I was like, that's a great idea. I think I need to grid because it's a lot. So I grid with the washable marker. And then I realized I messed up, but I grid too much, and then I was watching Stitch and Joel's, and she even said she only does a little bit at a time, just in case she messes up, then she can, because you don't want to be on the wrong line the whole entire time. So I took a spray bottle, because it's that washable marker stuff. I took a spray bottle and a rag, and I got most of it out, and whatever wasn't coming right out didn't matter anyway, because I'm stitching over it with darker colors. You're never going to see it. Then I go and I pull it out, and I'm looking at it, and I started this years ago, and I keep on having to almost force myself. So that's why I thought, well, maybe I'll go with scroll rods, or maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll try different ways to figure out the reasons on why I don't want to stitch it. Well, I decided I'm not going to stitch it. Well, I am. But this is 25 count Aida, and I'm doing 2/1, and I don't like the way the stitches lie. I mean, I know from here it doesn't look so bad, but it's so hard to get in between all those stitches with the 2/1, and when I'm up close, I see my mistakes in it, okay? So this right here that I lopped off, this is a little bit over a half a page. And this, I mean, I think the page ended like right here. And then I started over. So, and now gridding did help with all the, especially doing all this, because I could carry over and cross country it. And at first I was cutting off as I went along, and then I figured, you know what, no, let's do the park method. That worked better. Again, I've gone through several phases of how I'm going to stitch this. So I messaged a friend of mine, Misty. She's on her first Haid, and hers is the super large, super color, 200 and something colors, and she laid them all out. It's bigger than her. It's bigger than her bed. It's crazy. It's like 110 pages. It's gorgeous. It's a butterfly one. And then I asked her what she was doing, and then I know Jessie Marie from Jessie Does Stuff. I follow her on Instagram, and I know she does a lot of Haid, so I picked her brain and everything, and I showed her, and I had my ideas. So what I've decided to do was, I'm going to need another piece of Aida for Little Miss Blue Flame. I kept the threads together. I'm not going to totally abandon her, but I am going to start her over eventually. I printed out the 2 pages that I had marked all up. I printed those out fresh. I put it all together, and she's away for right now. And this is what I'm throwing away. That being said, I had this big giant piece of fabric. So what am I going to do with that? I don't stitch on Aida a lot, but I do have more Haids. So I cut out the fabric, cut off the piece and cut it out, and I'm going to do this one. I bought this a while ago, and I think it's out of print now. It's Mini Space Traveler. Now, this is the mini. I know there's, you know, super color and all that. I chose to do the mini, so I'd be more apt to stitch it. And not only do I like blues and the celestial and the planetary and the astronomy, the whole thing, but it also has a TARDIS. A TARDIS, right? And at first when I thought about just chopping it off in half and just doing this. But the more I look at it, the more I like it. The whole entire thing. And when it's done on this 25 count, it's going to be 13 3/8 by 7 7/8. So it's going to be, what, 13.5 by 8. So that's not very large. So I cut my fabric with plenty of room. Obviously, I had plenty of it there, because I'm going to have to get a new piece for the other one. The other one was a lot larger. And I started mapping out what colors I was going to actually need for just the first page, instead of pulling all the colors and having them all in there, and which I'll probably end up doing it anyway like that. But if I want to start it, I have the first colors. And I'm going to do it 1/1, but I took advice, I think, from, I don't know if Jessie Marie said it, but I do know Steph from Keep on Stitching said that, and I've heard other people say that the Anchor Black is better coverage. So if I'm going to do 1/1 with black and I want a nice color, obviously I'm going to need a lot of it. So I'm getting Anchor Cotton Black to do that with. I think the store only had 7, and so I'm getting all 7, and then I'll get more later. I mean, it's black. What's the color dial out on that? So that was my big decision, to lop off hours and hours and hours of work and start over again. I have not stitched on anything else. None of my throwdowns. I haven't finished anything else. But I did work on that, and I was up to my eyeballs in making project bags last week. I actually stressed myself out. I think I made the mistake of cutting out too many at a time. I thought I did 27. I actually cut out 29. And some of them were pre-orders. Some of them were stuff that I knew the people would want. So I just wanted to try to get as much done because I have to do everything. I'm methodical about it. I've got to do all the cutting out and put them all together. Then I've got to do all the ironing, prepping that. Once all the ironing's done, then I get the double-sided tape out for the strip on the vinyl, and I recut that down to size. Then I start sewing. Now when I sew, I also have to separate all the bags by what color I'm going to use to sew with, so I don't have to keep on changing out the bobbins. It's very methodical. I'm not OCD. I do have tendencies though, and things have to be a certain way. I only have so much room. The dog wants his space back. I mean, I've even like put he's wagging his tail. I even put a bin under there, and I've got fabric stacked all over the place. I like to put it in pairs, like the inside and outside, what's going to match, so I know what I'm going to cut. And if you see right there, those are bags that I haven't sewn yet. They're ironed and cut, and they're ready to be sewn. I stopped at 25. A whole bunch sold, which was wonderful. Love that. And I still have some, and I put them all on my Instagram account. All my bags come with a handmade beaded zipper pull. So I'm just going to go through these real quick to show you, just in case you're interested. This is a sewing theme bag. This particular one has a Singer sewing machine. Some of them have thimbles, some of them have spools. Sewing machine. I have this skull one. This one's got a zombie on him, and these mean looking eyes for the inside. I've got, this one's been popular. And I have, this one's got a birdhouse, and I also have some that I made with a pine cone. Then I have these snowmen ones. It's this with two different insides, and I have little mittens. Matter of fact, I just bought fabric with mittens on it. And then this one's got a snowman on it, and it's got snowflakes. Same fabric. This is my Steph special. Steph had me make her a bag with this fabric. So I made a couple of extras just in case anybody else is interested. I've got my Supergirls. And because you have Justice, right? And Harry Potter, I have two of these made up. And I just got some more Harry Potter fabric for the inside, the Marauders mat. I just got that today. So that's those. I have this one, Holly Jolly. Jolly Lolly. I have a Jolly Lolly. Excuse me. Sounds suggestive. Silver bells on that one. I've got this cute penguin fabric, and I did two different insides. There's a penguin. I have that inside, and then I have striped inside, and this one's got a tree on it. And then I have two Star Wars ones. They're both this outside and both that inside. And then I have one with Darth Vader, and I have a Stormtrooper. Those are the ones I have made up. I have some orders for other ones that I have to get by. And I got some cute fall fabric too the other day. I gotta stop buying fabric. Oh my goodness. I gotta get more sewing. So I had to, after I finished those, I said, okay, let me do the zipper pulls. So I did all the zipper pulls for all of them. Some of them I had pre-made because I like, once I start doing beading, I like to just get as much done as possible. So I finished making zipper pulls for all those, for the ones I needed to, and now I need to make some extras for other bags that I know I'm going to make. So they're just pre-done. And then I've got to put all that away and start sewing again. So those are my plans. I don't know what I'm going to stitch on. I'm looking around. I don't know what I'm going to stitch on. I don't know. I think I want to finish this Ben Franklin. And I know I've been doing the cross-stitch throwdown, so I've been trying to fit some of those in, but I'm itching to get some other stuff stitching now. I don't know why. And it's not even, I know a lot of people want to do Halloween or start Christmas and stuff like that, but I don't even know if it's that. I don't even know. I have no clue. I guess I could do the wheel and see what it tells me what to do, and then I tell the wheel, tell me what to do with my life, and I yell at the thing. So, I don't know. I might do that. I know I want to finish Benjamin. I know I want to, I called him Benny. Frank's like, did you just call Benjamin Franklin Benny? Yeah, I did. What's he gonna do? So and then I also started that One Nation that's from Bygone Stitches. So I started that, and I've been sort of thinking about that, so I might have to put some more stitches in that. Looking around, looking around, looking around. I sent those necklaces today. I finally got it all packaged up because I had to go back to the post office again, and I forgot to take it with me the last time. So those got sent out today with a little note saying, oh, by the way, I don't know if you remember talking to me. Here's the necklaces. Hopefully she'll get them and they'll put them up and it'll be put to good use. Now, I did a drawing, and I'll show you what it was for just in case you don't remember or you didn't watch my last video. It was for this scissor fob, and it says Hope on it. I'm trying to get that to focus in. It's pink and white. And this one also says Hope, pink and white, and it's a zipper pull to match. And that is for breast cancer awareness. So I took down, there were 7 people that said they support breast cancer awareness. Well, actually 8. And that's because Aaron, Marilyn's boy, he has offered to make a pledge. He doesn't want to be put into the drawing, but he does want to make a pledge in that person's name that won, which is very sweet. I love Aaron to death. His if you haven't watched him, Marilyn's boy, I'll mark it down and link him. I think I have linked him before, but I'll do that. And and for my bags, if you're interested in those are on my Instagram, StitchNButton Crafts, and they're also on my Facebook, StitchNButton, and I will have that link below also in the description. So I did a drawing. There were 7 people, and I did the number generator and the number generator. So that out of 1 to 7, I did the number generator, and it chose number 4. Now what I did was I went from the bottom of my comments on up and wrote down the names as I saw them, and because the bottom one was the first one. So that's how I did the numbering system. And number 4 is Sherry Ruiz, stitching with a Dotson. Hi, Sherry. So Sherry, message me on Instagram. We have messages anyway. So just give me your address, and I will get those out to you probably next week, because today is Thursday. I don't think I'm going back to the post office before next week. And what else? Oh, here, I bought these today. I'm not going to show you this, but my little notes, but I did buy these today when we had to go to Target. Things I'm dying to do. They were only $1. They're not sticky notes, it's just notepads. To brew meow and to brew later. I just thought those were cute. I always need a notepad, and I'm always writing down notes. And I probably have about 15 of different kinds, but what's one more? So Sherry, send me your address. Got that. I feel like I'm missing something. I have not added anything new to the Etsy store because I've been so busy anyway. But there will be some new things shortly. I'm looking. Oh, no, that was it. One thing I wanted to touch on earlier today got a little crazy. And Frank's daughter got a message from her friend who is 13 years old saying she was going to kill herself. Now, at this point, we were getting ready to go over to the post office. Well, I just left the post office. We were getting ready to go over the coast. So we made a detour and went over to her house, and we had to call 911. She took a bunch of pills. Now, she's going to be okay. There's some neglect involved, and she's a good kid. I've met her. She's stayed at our house before. It saddens me. It put Haley in a situation, and she handled it wonderfully. I'm very proud of her. She told us right away we need to go over. She said she's going to hurt herself. So, of course, we did. Haley went around back, and the back door was unlocked, so she was able to let us in. And she talked to her friend, and then Haley's mother came over and met us, and she kept her awake while I called 911. And then her mother was called over also. So she is at the hospital and getting the help she needs, and I do believe they're going to put her into a facility to get the help that she needs, which is good. I'm not saying that anybody does, but just, this is crazy. It's getting out of hand. I know that there's another fellow Flosstuber out there that recently lost a child to suicide, and it's sad, and sometimes you see the signs, and sometimes you have no clue. I mean, you could be the best parent in the whole wide world and speak to your kid every day, and sometimes they just hide it. Just keep an eye out and listen to when they speak. Just listen to when they speak. This would have been a bad thing. Now she had offered to cut herself first, and Haley was upset about that, and even with her saying that, I would have gone over. You know, obviously I was on my way over, and then when she said she was going to take pills, of course I went over, and we searched, and we found the pills she took. They were antidepressants, and it was a bad thing. It could have went a lot worse. So I do hope that she gets the help and the support that she needs. Unfortunately, neither of her parents are the support she needs. And it saddens me, and it's a lot for Haley to take on, but we're there for her, and I told her she needs to talk. Here I am. So she's handling it pretty well, and that's why we went over the coast anyway. She just needed to get out of town on a plane where retail therapy is a thing, right? We got a dress for her formal, and she looks beautiful. There was one more thing that I almost forgot to show you too. So that's my little PSA. Just pay attention to your neighbor's kids if you have to. You know, so just there's so many kids out there that aren't getting the attention they need and crave. You know, so just if you see it, say something, do something. I know sometimes it's just totally nothing. Kids say things just to get attention, but these days they're saying things because they're getting ready to do it too, and it's just crazy. You can't fathom the thought of why. I don't know. It's hard to wrap your head around, and my heart goes out to those that have lost children to this. My mom has lost my sister to drugs, so nobody should bury their children. It's just not natural. I received one more thing in the mail, and I don't mean to be melancholy, but this is close to my heart. My mom is 75 years old, and she knows she's not well. She has COPD and angina and high blood pressure and diabetes, and from the COPD she coughs a lot and she'll break ribs. She's been in the hospital in and out. She had a heart valve replaced. So she sees her mortality, as sad as it is, and she is actually flying me up there to go through stuff just in case, because I'm not close. So she wants me to go through stuff that I might want and box it up. I'm not saying she's dying next week, and she might not die for years, but she's ready to be prepared anyway. One of the things she's getting rid of stuff, and she's always done that though. She's been like, I have all this stuff, and then she accumulates a whole bunch more shit. And then she's like, I don't know where it all came from. I'm like, because you took it from us. So it's just the way she is. Love my mom to death. One of the things she's had for years, and little backstory, my mom first got into theater because of a friend of hers. Well, she met him when she first got into it, and in the costume shop, and his name was Richard. Well, I was in Milton Hershey at the time when they first met, and Richard and her became great friends. It was almost like my mom was his mom. His mom was not well mentally and had to be put into a facility, and his father had died. So my mom met Richard, and I believe he was about 19 when they met, and they just became close friends. It was crazy, and it was a weird relationship, and Richard was a great guy, and he had been in my life for a long time, and I know since I don't, the timelines blurs, you know, when you go from your teen years into, I'll be 47 this year. So anyway, Richard was a great guy, and he was in costumes and art, and I called him my Uncle Richard, because, I mean, how do you explain, especially back in the 80s, about this gay man that lives in your house with your mom, and they work together, you know, it's Uncle Richard. So, Richard's a very proud man. He's very, very well kept, and great at what he did, and he was funny, and he was precocious, and he'd drive you crazy and say, Mark, you'd love him. So, anyway, my mom was going through stuff, and one of the things I told her was, she said something about Richard's self-portrait, and I said, I want that. I said, to make sure that goes to no one else. I want that. And she sent it to me early, and it came in a tube, and this is Richard. It is... It's Richard. He had those chiseled features and a larger nose, and he was tall and thin. He had I think his neck was a little bit longer than that even, and a little bit thinner, but that's him, and that's before he lost even more hair. And I love this picture. It's been around forever. Obviously, Richard passed away in 1990. May have been 91, maybe. I can't remember the exact year. And his lover died on my birthday that same year, which is November 24th. Richard died of AIDS. He had AIDS back when everybody thought that AIDS was just a gay disease, and they were uneducated and idiots about it. And I learned a lot about AIDS. We lost over 6 friends in 2 years. Being in the theater, you know, it was hard, and I had to take care of him, but it was like the best thing you could do. I mean, how could I not take care of him? He took care of us. You know, it was a give and take relationship between him and my mother. They were there to support each other through everything, and even that. So I've always respected and loved Richard, and I love to have this. So I will definitely be putting this in a frame. This definitely needs to be framed. And I also have another picture that I need to frame. It's of me and my best friend Gina when we were teenagers, and my mom had it made it into a big giant poster picture. So I have yet to find a frame. I know I marked down the frame size in my phone. I can't find it. And every time I go to the store and they have sales on frames, of course, I don't know what size I need. So, but yeah, so I wanted to share that Richard with you. Love him. And that's about all I've got this week. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below or email me, and all that information will be in the description as far as where to contact me. And follow my Instagram. I put up stuff there all the time, whether it be funny or stitching, or, you know, the bags are all on my Stitch and Button crafts. If you have any comments, I welcome them all. So I hope everybody has a great stitchy 2 weeks, because 2 weeks seems to be good for me. And I hope you guys are all doing, you guys, gals, peeps, fellow stitchers are all doing well and are ready for Halloween. Have a great day. Don't forget, if you can't fix it, feature it, and don't let anybody steal your sunshine.